శంకర్ ఇప్పుడు
Yeah, this time okay. It's correct.
ఇట్స్ కరెక్ట్.
Yeah.
ఈ స్ట్రైట్ ఇమేజ్ కదా రివర్స్
ఓకే, నాకు రివర్స్ గా కనిపిస్తుంది కానీ ఓకే సాల్వ్.
రెడీ దగ్గర మెరర్ ఇమేజ్ ఉన్నాయి కదా
వాటిని లో ఇమేజ్ స్ట్రక్ అయిపోయింది.
నీ దగ్గర ఆల్రెడీ లింక్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా వర్చువల్కి
వాటిని
I'm just trying.
Yeah. Yeah, can you come here? Hello, everyone. Hey, Joseph, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, Ram. Yes.
Huh.
Now you check.
Hi everyone, good evening.
Hi. Hi, Amit.
Hi Joseph.
Hi, good evening, Amit. This is Ram.
Hi Ram, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. All good.
So, Ram, we actually caught up sometime in the morning, just to introduce ourselves. So, just for the benefit of everybody, I'll just introduce you. Amit he heads IT at British Council. He's responsible for all infrastructure and service management. He's been with the British Council for almost 16 years now, right? And we also have Mr. Anand Jha. Anand Jha, comes with an experience of over 30 years. He has just moved out of Kindle IBM, and he intends to start a consultancy on his own. So he's actually doing that already. So we had a good chat in the morning, some good insights that came around. Yeah, so you guys may want to just say hello to each other.
Hey, Anand. Hey, Amit. Nice to know you guys.
Same here, Ram. Same here.
Yeah, I was on a customer call in the morning.
No
So I
problem.
couldn't join.
No problem.
I know you guys did a WhatsApp call, so I picked it up, but I couldn't do a video call.
I hope the audio quality is okay, Ram, and
Yeah, it's pretty good with me. Yes.
Yeah, it's clear.
because in the morning there was some issues. Maybe
Some
I was using
disturbance, yes.
Wi-Fi. Yeah, but now I'm using a LAN cable, so
The video is a little blur. I don't know if it's just
I'm using a
bad.
network cable actually. So
Okay.
that's the closest that I can get to a switch.
Anand sir, I think he's in another event, so he's just stepped out to have a quick chat with us during the webinar. So thank you so much, Anand sir. Thank you, Amit, for joining. Yeah, so we will just, I guess we have 4 minutes to go, and then we will get started.
Yeah.
Your Suresh, your like the background is actually a mirror image of what you want to project.
So I'm just working on it. I just get that fixed.
Yeah, maybe you want to reverse it.
Yeah, just turn that around. Yes.
You can use the restaurant for the call because I am the ball. Huh? Yeah. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in our webinar series. This is the fourth. Our objective is to basically speak a lot about no code and how it is changing the landscape across the world, in various, use cases, processes. Today, we have two guest speakers with us. I'd like to introduce them before I introduce myself. We have Amit Agarwal. Good evening, Amit. Amit heads IT at the British Council. He heads IT for infrastructure and service management. Thank you for joining, Amit. We're happy to have you on the call today.
Welcome. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Joseph and Ram, for extending the invite. Thanks a lot.
We also have with us Mr. Anand Jha. Anand Jha is a veteran, I must say, in the industry. He brings with him about 30 years of experience. He's worked with Bharti Airtel, Reliance, and in his last stint was with IBM Kyndryl, where he was the associate director of service management. Great minds around service management and how the world around service management is evolving around today. My name is Joseph. I head sales at Sports Technologies. We've met before, and then we also have our founder CEO from Sports Technologies, C. Ramakrishna Reddy. Good evening, Ram, and welcome to the webinar session.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks, Joseph.
Anand sir, my apologies. Thank you so much for joining us in the webinar series, for accepting our invite, and we look forward to having a very meaningful conversation.
Thank you. It's privileged to be here. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you. So to get started, service management is a topic that a lot of people would really like to talk about. And then when I was having a chat with Anand sir in the morning, he did give me a very beautiful insight telling me that when you talk about service management, it's predominantly around IT service management. But the landscape is, largely changing today, where service management is something that is being perceived or used very aggressively in multiple industries as well. So, quickly looking at the emergence of service management, what would be some of the common challenges that we see in service management? If you could quickly help us with what you have seen in your experience, especially with industries outside the IT segment. Anand sir, if you would like to start.
Yeah, thanks, Joseph. I think you have rightly said that service management is perceived as IT service management, and the customer service, so-called customer service, were not given that much of importance, and the entire customer service management were dealt with a manual process, silos process. Okay, the product was perceived as a prime importance, service were given the second importance. What the team is trying to bring, that the service management aspect is a customer service. Okay, how we are going to handle the incident, problem, change, okay, related to the customer's interaction. Okay, be it installation of any consumable goods, or say refrigerator, AC, etc. So in the day-to-day life, in the day-to-day activity, we interact on the various what do you call, the various service providers, and there is a very much need that how we can have a service management function, okay, or the tools available to the industry, okay, which are not available. And IT service management is perceived as a high tech, where our job is to transition this so-called high tech customer service operation to the business people. Okay, so the no code process, okay, identifying the process, changing the process, and easily adapting to the need of a business, where this is going to play a major role. So I think
Absolutely.
the no code is going to be no code platform is going to bring a more customer centric approach and delight a customer if you able to provide the service to the client the way they need.
Thank you so much, sir. So those were great points, and we would really love to hear a little more in terms of how no code will come. And as we come across to the next questions, Amit, what would you like to add? I know that you've been part of the IT ecosystem, but in your experience, how do you see, what are the common challenges that you see outside of IT, especially when it comes to service management? Amit, I guess you're muted, as I can see.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So the most important, I think, challenge which I can see, which is on top of my head right now, is actually delivering that value. When we talk about very basic definition of IT service management, it is co-creation of value, and then delivery of value. But IT service management is really not able to deliver value because a lot of automations that should have been in place, they're not there. A lot of time is right now taken into by the tool set guys, by service management team, that to how do we build that process, how do we make sure that are there, apart from many other challenges like what Anand was talking about in terms of going beyond IT. And I think going beyond IT, I would really look at that we really need to talk in the language which the business wants. So if we talk about incident, people will not understand. If we talk about problem, people will not understand. But if we talk about that, for example, if we talk about procurement, so we say that, okay, if there is any issue in purchase order, if we talk to HR, if we say that, okay, if there is a complaint from an employee, so we have to change our language actually in terms of how do we put across service management, because IT is going into enterprise service management. It is no longer IT service management. If you look at any tool in the market, obviously this is a sports webinar, but if you look at any tool in the market, they are going beyond IT. But the issue that I see is that everybody is still selling incident and problem, and I think that is the biggest challenge that I see in terms of ending service management.
Yeah, so it's more about aligning the language in line with the industry that you're speaking about. Identify what do they really call their challenges as, and then try to relate with those problems when we talk about service management for them, right? Thank you so much. Great points. Ram, now that you've been talking to a lot of customers outside of IT, multiple industries, what are your inputs? What are some of the challenges that you have seen that a lot of these customers bring to us today?
I mean, the challenges are multifold. Thanks to Anand and Amit, have already covered few of them. All the way from customer raising, whether it is a complaint, an issue, or any problem that you could have, and then auto assigning it to an agent or to system itself, where the system takes over and then fix it automatically. There are more and more tools that are coming in where the moment a ticket is raised, most of the diagnostic needs to happen automatically rather than a manual intervention. The other challenge is that people are people itself, because the ever-changing landscape of how service is done, the SOPs, the standard operating procedures keeps changing very dynamically. There are new tools coming in between, there are new hardwares coming in, new infrastructures coming in now, and then new processes coming in. Just keeping up with them is a big challenge for these professionals, whether it is in the IT service or whether it's the normal service, product service, which is manufacturing or other aspects of it, right? The people itself who has to keep track of the ever-changing operating procedures, and also the resolution. Nowadays the resolution time has to be much quicker. So keeping in mind all of these aspects, remembering them, knowing what to do next, is itself a huge challenge. Even now is a huge challenge, primarily because the pace things change. They don't change. Prior to this, it used to take 6 months to bring small change. Now, a new hardware comes in, that's installed, and you're expected to know everything about the hardware. Go change this command. Now, in the IT service itself, a router gets changed, and router new configuration could just mess it up. Like, we have load balancers in the IT side where, can dynamically, one small configuration just can mess up a lot of stuff, right? Learning them, knowing them, now we depend too much on knowledge bases and stuff like that. So how do we really ensure that people don't have to remember anything, and how does systems and tools can help them to get to the right solution, and also the right step in the standard operating procedure itself is a big challenge. And that's an area where whether it is ITSM or whether it is the normal traditional service management, has to be looked and taken care of.
Thank you so much, Ram. Great points. As a consumer myself, right? Moving away from IT service management, when I buy a product today, right? And I'm sure I resonate with many other people who are with what I'm going to say, is that when I buy a product, I definitely am worried about how the service is going to be, right? I think one of the things that you really mentioned was about pace, right? We really live in a very, very fast world, and I will not put up with my internet being down for an hour, right? It's a no-no for me today, because it has deep business impact, right? I'm sure a housewife also will not put up with a washing machine being down for a day, right? Because it affects her work, because she's working elsewhere. she has a time when she has to wash clothes, or he or she has a time when they have to wash clothes, and then if it's down, it's down. It's not acceptable. So I think the expectation from the consumers is also changing largely. While I just spoke about household, there could be a large format machinery, medical equipments, where the outcomes of using those equipments could have a larger impact, and downtime beyond a couple of hours is absolutely not acceptable today, because it impacts somebody's life, it impacts somebody's business. So I think those are some of the key challenges that the industry faces today, moving out predominantly from an ITSM to any other industry today. And I think a lot of industries are opening up to being focused more on services, right? It's not just about selling the product, it's also about how you service that product, right? Like I was mentioning in the morning, when we talk about customer acquisition, right? Customer acquisition cost, how much do you invest in bringing a customer on board? I think customer retention cost is also something that is actively being looked upon, right? Because if your CAC is really high, you better have that customer for a very, very long time, so that you basically generating profitable business out of those customers. So great points. Thank you so much for bringing those points in. Now, while we see a sea of change that's happening today, what do you think holds in the future of service management? Right? I'll direct this question first to you, Ram. You are somebody who lived outside of India, and I'm sure you've experienced how service has been in other parts of the world. Where do you think we are today in comparison, and what are your thoughts about how the future of service management should be?
I mean, it's a good question. First, I think the biggest thing that I talked about is patience. People expect things to be resolved now, not for 5 days, not 4 days. Now, an example that we talk about is, let's say there's a breakdown of your vehicle. People expect it to be fixed in 40 minutes. And that's what we do with Maruti. Maruti commits to a service where you have to get the issue resolved, or at least you should reach the customer in 40 minutes, and then the issue should be resolved in an hour and a half or two, so that you could start going in your journey, right? So that the pace itself is what is very important, is what is changing. The second thing is people want everything to be automated, all the way from the customer raising the ticket. They don't want any manual intervention because things could go wrong. All the way from let's say if you're in a car, you don't want to call, you just want to press a button, and then the ticket lands and it gets allocated. People are coming, who's coming and what time they're reaching, and you can monitor them at the same time. This is from a customer standpoint. So they look at for an integrated customer service, all the way from ticket raising to monitoring to figuring out when the customer is going to when the agent is going to come and fix your issue. That is number one, where there's a manual intervention. They also want things to be diagnosed. Like you look at these days, there are a lot of self-diagnostic tools in the routers built in, where the router self fixes it. In fact, we do this in our SaaS platforms, where the load increases all of a sudden, and then the servers are automatically diagnosing the load, and then automatically increase the CPU or the RAM, so that there is no impact to the customer. So there is this called what in the first incident, reactive customer service, where the duration is being compressed. That is reactive. In the proactive, so there is more and more that's been invested in proactive customer services. Even before the customer raises the ticket, the system knows that there's something going wrong, and it takes corrective actions. This is the second part. And the third part is an integrated management. Like, you need to let customer know sometimes, customer is not aware there's an incident, and the system automatically fixes it, but the customer still needs to know that there is an incident, because it's part of a lot of these compliances forces you to let the customer know there could be a potential incident. So keeping all of that in track, whether the customer, the system itself is another place where a lot of emerging. I mean, this is what's much emerging in the service management segment.
Thanks, Ram. Thanks, Amit. I'm sure since you've been with the organization for the longest time, and since you've been managing services management as a key portfolio. How do you think this has evolved over time, and where do you think is the future? What do you think can get better? I'm sure you would have used multiple tools, through your journey. I'm sure you would have seen and met different kinds of expectations that came in from customers, in-house or outside, right? So, where do you think we are, and where do you think service management is headed into the future?
Definitely. Thank you, Joseph. So when I look at where we are right now, I think we have improved a lot in terms of service management. Maturity has come in a lot in British Council in terms of understanding why service management is important. But now I think the time has come in to go to the next step. Maybe enterprise service management is one area, but I will give you a very small use case. I think that is where we are currently dwelling upon, which is knowledge management. What is happening is that people are putting in KB articles, we can tag them, they can search, use it. But now what we are looking at is that if suppose on a ticket, there is a issue and can the system automatically pick it, submit it as a KB article? Can the knowledge manager say that, okay, yeah, this goes to this person, please review it, can this be published for the next usage? So I think that's where we are looking to go into that journey wherein we can automatically pick up knowledge from the already tickets assigned. We can automatically pick up, for example, I can take one more example, maybe when we're talking about capacity management. So when we are looking at the trends of network utilization, when we are looking at Azure tenant utilizations, so a lot of trends are there. But how do we know that, okay, whether we need to act upon this particular area to reduce or improve? Auto scaling is there, but yeah, auto scaling works at times. But I think we need to, as a human also, we need to take those decisions in order to make our infrastructure more agile and more like cost effective also. So I think these are, I think, two use cases wherein I am currently dwelling upon in terms of how service management toolset can bring in maybe machine learning and artificial intelligence into the system to
based on data that is already available.
Okay, so to make sure those knowledge articles are automatically created for the desk, because again it will lead to less reduction in the time of a ticket resolution, like Ram and you were telling about that, okay, we want it in 40 minutes. So that how is it possible when the knowledge is passed on to the next people in the line? So, and same way with the capacity management. So that's, I think, where I would want to see service management in the next not few years but few months, actually 5 to 6 months.
Great points. Anand sir, you have spent a lot of time in the telecom sector, as I see, and it is one industry that it keeps service as a huge aspect, right? It's not just So, what were your experiences, and where do you think there needs to be improvements? What do you think should be the future of service management? So you're on mute. If you're trying to speak, maybe you'll have to unmute. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So let me check. Ram has taken 3 points. Okay. One is a resolution. Second is a automated process, and third is I think he briefly touched about the keeping the customer informed. The biggest challenge for all of us. Okay. How to keep the customer informed about all the progresses is happening. Okay. If engine repair will take say 4 hours, it will take 4 hours. Okay. You can't put extra effort to repair engine in half an hour, because that won't be a cost effective. Okay. So customer is not looking for that sort of thing. What customer is looking for, to keep them informed what is happening, what is the progress is happening. Okay. if my complaint has been acknowledged, okay, it has been responded, and somebody has done the analysis and communicated back to me that it's okay, so and so is the problem, and this is a resolution. It will take XYZ hours, okay, and in X hours, if there is a longer duration, he can keep informing that ABC process has happened, because customer experience is not about just resolution. It's about how we are keeping the customer engaged. Okay, how we are keeping the customer informed about the progress. That they are more interested. Okay, so that is the aspect I think we should cover, and a real life example where I think this service management will come into the play. That a real life example that I am porting my one of my what do you call Mediclaim from HDFC corporate to individual. Okay, and the timeline has been more than 20 days. Okay, because they have to take a separate underwriter approval, etc. All those things. Now, what is happening in between? There were lull period. I was not knowing what is happening, whether it is being informed me or not, whether it is going to be approved or not. So, such service management, okay. Now, service management will going to enhance the customer experience, and there I think we should have a system where we keep informing customer at each step that what is happening. That is one part, and there could be two parts. One is inside confidential part within the company, another part with the customer, and that power I think we are going to give to the business people. So those are the things I think will help us in improving this what you call service management, or we say customer experience. If coming to the telecom environment, you right then I think rightly said that if you see the DSL, suddenly if the DSL is not working, you will get an alert that there is a down and the ticket has been raised. Okay, and suddenly you'll see the system will start working, and somebody again you'll get the message the system was down. So those are the information is helping customer that company is proactively working on it and informing you. So keeping so the bottom line is keeping the customer informed through this our service management platform will definitely going to enhance customer experience, and this will open a new what do you call new market for everyone. Okay, because right now everybody is thinking that the CRM, which is highly tech, okay, codependent, what Ram talked about, it taking longer time to do all those things. So CRM will take a next level of evolution when you talk about the CRM service management. So this is my take on that.
Fantastic, sir. I'm itching to say this. I'm sure Ram is also, but a lot of points that you just covered in terms of keeping the customer informed once a service ticket is raised. Maybe not the technicalities of how it's getting fixed, but in terms of where exactly the request is and who's handling it and how far it has come. The good news is that you can already do that with effort. But I really do not want to dwell a lot on that, because today we're in general speaking about service management. But I definitely like to make the point that you can do that with effort today, which is our no-code platform from Spools. And we have a host of customers who basically make use of this feature where, once a service ticket is raised, the engineer is assigned, based on geolocation, based on availability. And then once the activity starts, right, the customer is informed, the OEM is informed on what is the activity, how long it's going to take, so on and so forth. So real-time updates, real-time, real-time visibility, happens on the platform, right? So, so when you spoke about future, right, I'm glad to say that we've already made inroads there. Sorry, was there a question? Right.
Nothing. Just go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, great. Moving on, right now, while we look at service management, right, today largely as we keep coming across many customers, we still find that a lot of customers still use manual methods, right? And it is the same, when we talk to small customers, when we talk to mid-sized customers, and also to enterprise customers. And we also realize that some of these enterprise customers have invested in certain tools, but they still, are maybe comfortable following manual methods, or probably are not educated enough about the tools that they are using, right? So what would be your take in terms of why that change is really not happening, and what do you think could be done better to make to ensure that technology is used much more? Because we clearly, from the points that we've just spoken, we've clearly outlined that it definitely is going to make a huge impact and give a huge benefit to anybody who's digitizing or bringing technological advances into service ticketing, or service management rather, right? So what do you think needs to be done to make that switch from a manual method of capturing information and providing information to end customers to to digitizing or bringing in technology? Amit, if you could help us with your views, would be great.
So the thing that was coming to my mind is COVID taught us a lot. Pre-COVID, we were basically doing a lot of things manually, and because we had to stay indoors, we found out ways that, okay, how do we digitize this? How do we get maybe a packet of milk at home by just sending something to that person? You can see the amount of digital wallets and digital payments that have increased during the COVID period of time. But maybe there can't be a COVID for service management. There can't be. So what is that we need? I think we need that vision, and we need that commitment from the management and from the ITSM community, that okay, just to make sure that okay, this is how it can be done. And I think when we talk about a no-code platform, that is actually what it is doing, is that it is bringing in technology closer to the business. That is how I see. And when we talk about technology going towards the business, that means the business can very well do it themselves, or with the help of a little bit a person who understands a little bit of tool and the business. So that sort of capability or skills are only required, rather than the current levels of coding and all those things which are required, which is making the process a little bit slow, and the benefits are not realized, or they are realized a little bit with a delay. I will not say that the benefits are not at all realized. They are realized, but by the time we come to a place where those benefits can be seen, the market has moved to a different place, and then we start catching up onto that particular area. So I think the gap always remains there in terms of the expectations of the business and what IT can deliver.
Great points, Amit. Ram, what would be your take? How do you think we can move people from being in a comfort zone of doing things manually to being in a comfort zone using technology?
It's a complicated problem. Let me put it this way. I think, it's not like people did not try using technology. I think I've seen, this is my personal experience, then the biggest challenge, number one, is people think technology, the moment you put technology, it is like reaching nirvana and it solves everything for you, which is not right, which is absolutely not true. It's a combination of implementing technology, enforcing it, and making sure people follow these steps defined and stuff like that. So there is still some involvement needed all the way from leadership. The biggest reason why a lot of people who've tried technology, did not really stick with it, and they said manual is better, because they thought we are just spending money and we're still doing stuff manually. They don't see the 80% gain that they get. From the leadership standpoint, they just think, prior to this, I used to review my things. Even I'm reviewing today also. And why is it taking time, right? So the decision makers all of a sudden doesn't see that there is less time, but actually the benefit below is a lot, because then everything is automated, digitized, and stuff like that. There is also a challenge from the down below. They see benefit, but then because of the visibility that it gives, technology gives, people are little averse to even following technology, because it can give you visibility. It can throw that this ticket is delayed and stuff like that. Now that also means there is a negative perception from the employee saying, hey, we've been monitored, and everything is being tracked. So there is this friction. We've seen places where the success came, where first mindset change is just putting technology doesn't solve the problem. There is still somebody needs to look at this data, push people to do it, non-compliances and stuff like that. And unless that happens, especially for service management, it shows, service management is one place where everything is a problem. It highlights a problem, and it is highlighting a problem out a problem, right? Like somebody, like a customer raised a ticket, and if it's getting delayed, it's highlighting, and it's a bigger problem that the technology is highlighting.
It's not just highlighting, it's escalating too.
Escalating and stuff like that. So which means there's a lot of resistance from the bottom. There's also there should be push. Now when it escalates, the management thinks, hey, it's still, I'm getting involved. Why should I get involved? I thought the technology is going to solve the problem. So if I was getting involved before, and if I'm getting involved now, is it really worth the money? Right? That's another mindset that I see has to change to really move from manual and then going to technology implementations across the company, right? That's the biggest problem that I see. By technology itself can solve a lot of problems. It can optimize at a lower level. Sometimes at a management level, you don't see or perceive the benefit because you are still getting involved.
Great. Anand sir, thank you so much, Ram. Anand sir, what would be your thoughts?
I have got totally different perspective for this. Okay, the adoption of any new technology is not happening, not because they don't want. Okay, because as a technology guy, we want to push the technology. This is the solution. This is if you buy this tool, you'll solve your problem. That is the approach taken by most of the technology
vendors in the
people.
market.
Okay. Yeah, and that's why there is a very little adoption is there, and everybody try to automate themselves. Okay, by using the in-house capability. The biggest challenge, Ram, this for you as a CEO, is that unless they change the background process, okay, the technology won't help. So what is happening? They imply a technology is not going to solve their problem. The benefit won't occur, and they see that, okay, I have used this tool, benefit has not, because they have not changed the associated problem. So the biggest challenge for all of us is to create a use case, okay, where you sell a value proposition that this is the way you serve customer, their product, okay, refrigerator servicing or car servicing or XYZ servicing. And these are the three things you need to change to bring this benefit, okay, and these are the benefit. So if you conduct some what do you call case study, okay, then the value proposition will be much stronger to buy them. Okay, they will be willing to buy your solution, buy your technology. Why I am just giving example, because Mr. Chug, I don't know, the Manoj Chug, who was a external president for Mahindra, Tech Mahindra and Mahindra Group basically. He said that if you are bringing just technology to them, okay, they won't buy. You have to understand their pain, okay, where the pain is there, okay, whether the service structure need to be changed, the way the process are oriented, that need to be changed, or resources need to be trained. What are the underlying factors, okay, which are responsible to bring this benefit to the customer. Unless you address them, okay, as a value proposition, okay, that okay, we'll help you with the process, okay, so that this technology can bring you the benefit. By just putting a technology on front of the old process or the bad process won't give you the result. Because that is the biggest challenge I see. Because whenever I have approached, okay, I have seen that the process itself is not up to the mark. What technology is going to do that? Okay, so this is
Got
one
it.
aspect. One aspect. Second aspect is that how they're going to digitize, because they are thinking that digitization is just automation of process. Digitization is not the automation of process. It is totally different. Rewriting a process. So that we need to sell that way, okay, to bring the value proposition. So that is, there are two aspects, okay. Solve the backend problem, bring the value. How the technology is going to bring the value by changing certain changes in the process. That is one aspect. And it's not just we are going to replicate their inefficient process through our technology,
Correct.
whereas our technology will enable them to bring efficiency into their backend process. These are the two aspects I think we need to bring in our story, either through the case study or the value proposition. That will bring adaptability of this service management to the larger scale other than the IT sphere. Because the IT is very small. If it is 20% is IT, but 80% is a normal day-to-day operation. So where it has got a very big potential market. How we're going to present, it's up to us.
Absolutely, sir. Great points there, sir. So it's not
Yeah,
just
I mean, just
about
to add, I mean, I think
Sure.
one moment. I completely agree, Anandji. I think those are very valuable points because personally, I've noticed, right? I mean, our platform primarily, what we do is, most of the time, what happens is the technology drives, and they were rigid before, and they say, okay, this is how you have to do. Now that's not understanding their pain. So there was a problem there where the customer said, hey, you're not understanding my pain at all, and you're throwing me technology which you solve for somebody else, which is not my problem, right?
Yes.
That is number one. Then with no code platform with ours, what we do is we just allow our platforms to do what is customer asking. मेरे को ये चाहिए, तो we don't do the analysis whether it is actually solving their problem. We are not solving what they actually want. We just do what they ask because the platform allows you to do. You're absolutely right, where you have to invest that time and figure out what are they asking, but what do actually they want, and then help that want to be addressed. Number one. And number two is after implementing the process, the due diligence or the rhythm or the daily looking up of information, giving that information back to the customer, pushing them sometimes to use that information to take actions, is when I have seen customers getting delighted, because they say, okay, we've implemented technology. I thought it will tell me what to do, but it's not telling me. It is, again, I have to think all the time, right? So that part sometimes cannot be automated, but somebody has to look at that and actually give that answers to the leadership, saying, hey, you have to take these actions. If you don't, then you'll have these problems, right? I think those two are absolutely, you're bang on target, that most of the time we miss when we go, because our platform can do anything. We just do what they ask for, not really solving their actual pain point. But that's when customer says, okay, we've implemented technology, you're doing exactly what I'm asking, but it's still not solving the problem. Now, most of the time we see our engineers will say, hey, we are solving exactly what you're asking for. Then why are you worried about? He says, you're solving what I'm asking for, but it's still not solving my problem, right? So that disconnect has to be fixed.
Yeah. So sorry, just to add. So it is basically, it's not about the technology selling. It is a consultative selling has to be there, where we understand their problem and help them to use the technology in the right way. Because at the end of the day, they will going to ask, I have bought your technology, it has not given the result. So, and that we must own the result, okay? So that's why I'm saying that if it is possible, do some study where we can explain that this was the problem, this is the way we help, and this is the technology has been adopted, and we have transferred this what you call power from IT to business. So those sort of things, I think linkage has to be established to make it fly.
Great points. Great points. So, bottom line is old wine in new bottle will still remain sour if it was sour in the older bottle, right? So the bottle's not going to change anything. So you have to change the wine a bit if it has to be better. Great points coming in there. So I'll take a pause here. We have a couple of attendees who've joined us today, and if there are any questions, we'll be happy to take. I see somebody has raised a hand. Sridhar, yeah. Sridhar, is there a question? We'll be happy to answer. Looks like Sridhar is not around. Yeah, if among the attendees, if there are any questions that you would want to, bring forward, we have the experts here. We will be able to we'll be happy to help you with answers. Oh, cool. Great. So moving on.
Suresh, sorry, there is one question in the chat.
Yeah.
So
What
maybe
technology is being used to streamline the service management? Yeah, I think we will speak a little about that in our next questions, right? So, we already spoke about.
Joseph, can I take a leave? Sorry, I have to be there.
Sir, just this one last question, because you are somebody who's used no code, so I want some points coming in from you, and then maybe you can, right? So please bear with me for a few more minutes, right? Okay. We already spoke largely about no code, and for me to ask, have you heard about no code, will be really preliminary. So I'm excusing myself from there. We already, there were points that came in from from Anand sir, as well as around no code. So sir, you did tell me that you have used no code in the past. What are your thoughts, and how do you think it is going to change the how do you think it is going to change service management as a whole? Anand sir, if you could answer that question.
Yeah, see, I have used this no code, and the biggest flexibility giving it in creating a different sort of form, okay, different type of workflow as and when needed, okay. So it has got an umbrella of workflows, boxes, okay. You can assign a task, okay, on the fly, and this can be done with by the business team, and hence the owners of making a business successful is with business, okay, and they know their process better.
Correct.
And since they are not playing with any IT infrastructure, because we have ensured that the forms are designed in such a way, data entity are maintained, okay, those things have been taken care at back end, okay. So no code is playing very excellent role in empowering the business owner to change the process the way they want on the fly, and it can be used to support business efficiency anytime. That is going to be the way of life.
Got it, sir. Got it. Yeah. Great point, sir. Great points. Amit, what would be your, did you have a brush with no code? What is your experience? How do you think it's going to streamline service management?
Yeah, so I think the industry is looking at that the complete platform is a no code platform. Although the experience that I have with no code is in the catalog, the service request catalog, if we talk about. So a lot of players have now come in with a widget called the catalog builder, if I can use that word. So what that really means is that we can use that catalog builder to, without any technical knowledge, we can build basic forms, workflows, approvals. We can implement that. So those sort of no coding exposure I have in terms of me and my team. and that has really done very well in terms of the timeline to deliver, the agility to make sure that we can make changes on the go as per the business requirement, and also to make sure that there is always a transparency, like we were talking about communications. There is always a transparency in terms of where we are, what we are doing, and how is it shaping up. So that sort of exposure we have had, but I'm actually looking at in the service management that everything is a no code, because right now if you talk about a standard change catalog wherein a lot of standard changes are there, we do not have something like that. So that is where I think I want that maybe the service management team who are managing the processes, they themselves can manage the tool set, because again, I have been always an advocate of the tool cannot dictate the process, because processes are set in an organization. If you talk about ITIL, it is a framework, it is not a standard. So what I'm looking at is that the service management processes are made as per the business requirement, that means the organization requirements, and those processes should be implemented on tool rather than tool dictating anything to the processes, that okay, no, this can't be done X way, this can only be done Y way. So that is where I'm looking at, and I think with no code and widgets, these two things would help service management to be more efficient and effective in terms of value delivery.
So the agility that it brings to, not do it the X way
Joseph,
and the
I think
Y
Mr.
way.
Anand might have
Make-
Joseph,
Mr.
just
Anand
I
might
want
have
to-
total, yeah.
I just want to
Sure.
add, okay, if you talk about the when in the previous assignment, I was implementing the service now, okay, and it
Okay.
was a very lean process, but there was a biggest challenge. I'll tell you how the no code is going to play. Suppose you want to add one approver, okay, and those approvers are not within your group. You can't add the approver, okay, and it has to create a change request. It will go for a approver, coding, etc., testing, everything. It will take 7 to 8 days, what Ram was talking about. No code will simply allow you to add that person, okay, from the workflow, okay, without changing your entire structure of the process, okay,
Absolutely.
because something requires a extraordinary approval required from the vice president because there is a X cost involved, okay, and it's very much possible that vice president can approve. Now what is going to happen, you will go through the off route, okay, you are losing the entire track silo, you are going through the either WhatsApp or SMS. But no, if the no code platform is there and the person, authorized person, service manager, he can raise a request, just add a drop down, it will create a workflow because the workflow is already there, and the VP can approve the cost, okay. So no code is going to make a life easy, okay, even for the thing where service now remedy, where it's a hard coded integral party there. So it is evolving, it is going to play a major role and make life easy. Amit, that's what I want to add to your point.
Absolutely, great points. And so, I've heard agility, I've heard ease of use, I've heard DIY, right? Typically, probably a decade ago or even half a decade ago, somebody in business would just go to IT and say, okay, look, this is what I need, right? You're moving away from there and then saying that, today business can basically say that, oh, this is how I want it and I'm going to create it this way, right?
Yeah.
So that is like a major shift that's basically that no code is bringing into the market. Ram, now that you've been working on this, on no code and DIY for like over a decade, what are your experiences? How do you think this is going to transform? And if you could also share some real world scenarios where you help customers, that would really be great.
I mean, just to give an idea of some real world scenarios, we have a customer in Sri Lanka, John Keels. They have close to 28 processes on the platform, and they did everything on their own. They actually have a 5-people team which keeps developing these processes, right?
Wow.
The biggest benefit is they don't come to us, and they don't pay extra money for that 28 processes, and their business team does all of them on their own, and they make changes instantly. That's number one. The number two benefit is, in traditional development, like what Mr. Anand was saying, is you have to think through about the process. Now, sometimes you can't spend a lot of time in really streamlining the process 100%. Now, even getting 70% benefit is still a, is the benefit. So the best part of these platforms which are coming now is, first, it will allow you to automate only 70%, and it will not put any restrictions to add 5% every time you think about a new idea. And so that means your experimentation ability has increased, which was not there before, right? So let's say you say, hey, I want to introduce this, I want to see the benefit. Oh, I'm not getting this benefit, so let me roll back, right? Which was not there, because what happens is, I'll tell you, in the traditional development, it would take the same amount of time to add a new step and roll back a new step, right? And which was not possible before. Because you might see that the benefit of the process without a new step itself is more comparing to a new step, right? Now, all of these agility and experimentation ability comes from these platforms, right? Which is the reason why they love it. Countries like India, are still evolving to adopt no codes, because they're still used to having somebody do it. But I think, whether it is Maruti, whether it is Make My Trip, PhonePe, Rapido, Siemens, Mahindra Finance, they love the platform. If you look at some technology companies like PhonePe, Make My Trip, Rapido, which are core technology, are also using our platform because they don't have to write code from the beginning, and they just say, hey, there's a no code platform, let me take it. It'll take 3 days, 4 days for me to streamline a process, and if I have to change it, it takes an hour for me to change the process, right? Now, these hour days, is like a dream for a lot of these IT companies, because it used to take 3 months, 6 months before every small change. Rollback also would take the amount of time, which is no more the reason for not doing something or experimenting something. And that's because no code platforms like us give the ability to the customer and the businesses to play around. I use the word play around because that's what exactly no code does. It's a playground, an experiment, and make your process better on a daily basis.
Yeah, so the names that you just called out, right? What does not miss my attention is that they are from different industry verticals, right? So, and each of them, I'm presuming, had different kinds of requirements as well, right? So the ability for no code to actually, just get onto the platform and then, configure or build what they like, right? The ease that it gives, I think, is definitely something, really, really positive, right? So it is not a pointed solution anymore, right? So somebody does not have to be an industry expert. And I know that, Effort is a technology enabler where you just provide the platform and a customer can come and say, hey, this is my, business case. This is what my process is. And I really want to, build an application where I can, quickly get running with it. Great points, Ram. Amit, would you like to add, anything further, or on how no code can benefit the whole industry, as such, right?
I think I've covered some points, but maybe I'll try and rephrase them. Industries right now talking about AI and ML. I think that's the area where auto discovery, machine learning, these are the areas where I think no code will definitely help, apart from the traditional areas where we are looking at how do we make sure that the delivery of our workflow or a new support model on the tool set is much faster as compared to where we are currently. Because a lot of things, if I talk about, they go into the backlog. Whenever our service management team picks up any new thing that, okay, yeah, this is how it can be done more efficiently, we straight away log a change for the ServiceNow team. It sits in their backlog. So what is the use of that? If we identify anything good, we should actually be able to implement it also faster. So I think no code will definitely help us over there. And so these are the two things which I wanted to highlight. AI/ML, like acceptance of AI/ML and introduction, and maybe some use cases which will help us to understand yes, that AI/ML is only not like a chat GPT tool. You ask questions and you get answers, but wherein you deliver value also to the end user, because in the end, when we are talking about cost effective delivery of services, especially when we talk about service providers who are in the market, they are really looking forward to some scenarios where they can reduce cost and improve the delivery quality of the delivery. So I think that is where I think I feel no code platform can help in terms of enabling.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amit. So to the question that had come to us, right? What technology is being used to streamline service management? I think one simple answer is that, today no code can help you to do that, because it gives you agility, it gives you ease of use, it helps you to get to the market quickly, it enables you to make changes to an existing process quickly, it enables you to add, remove processes quickly, and like you said, and like Ram, rightly said, you can quickly try something new, come back to ensure that your processes are intact and organizational goals are met. As I look at the clock, we overshot our time, and I know that this is a subject that we possibly could speak for hours. I'd like to take a minute to thank Amit, thank Anandji for coming over. Thank you so much, Ram, for bringing out those great points. But before we sign off, if there are any further questions, if there are any points that our attendees would like to make, the floor is open. You can quickly jump in. If there are questions, we'll try and see how we can answer them. I presume there are no more questions. Great. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking time to be on this call. I think it was a great session. There was a lot of learning. There is a lot of sharing that has come across from various from different industry verticals, from various thought processes. And one thing that anybody who's on the webinar, the key takeaway is that no code is the future. And if somebody really wants to spin up an app, it's all about, you really don't have to be technical there. All you need to do is just know your business workflow, pick up a great tool like Effort, go forward, create the app, publish it, and get going. Any closing comments if you'd like to make, we can. Otherwise, I think we will be good with this.
Thanks, Joseph. Thanks, Amit ji. Nice for you to join our webinar.
Same here.
Thank you.
Same here. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you.
Joseph. Thank you, Ram. Thank you,
all.
Anand sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone who's on the webinar.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.